The desire to make love or copulate or to engage in sexual union is at its core probably the most liberating emotion. A man and woman bearing themselves to each other, no pretense, no sense of fakeness or artificiality. There's a sense of ego death as both climax, and eventually they let go. You guys know what they call sex in French, don't you? The French are incredibly romantic. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Okay? They have a very seductive kind of way about them. So the French, the artistic French, they have this term as le petit mort, the little death. Sex is the little death. Okay, you die and you're reborn. Keep this in mind. It's not possible to reach your orgasm if you have inhibitions and if you have fears. And a lot of my clients come to me saying, I can't orgasm, or, I have sexual dysfunction, or this kind of stuff, right? No matter how much you resist or hold back, nature propels every living entity to have sexual union. So if you're not getting it through one way, you'll find a compensation. Now, in our pathworking and spiritual trauma healing business, which is called Primal Sutra, we have this archetype of the priest beast or the savage shaman. Now, how does the priest beast or the savage shaman make love? First of all, remember that I said you can't reach an orgasm if you have fears. You see, the savage is the one without fear. Does that mean they're busting all the time? No. Their life is the orgasm. They can bust if they want to, but that's not the main concern. So how does the priest beast or the savage shaman, how do they fuck? How do they make love? In order to explain this, I need to get you to understand that the priest beast archetype is a multi-dimensional lover. Okay? They're a multi-dimensional lover. So first of all, you have to understand this. There's 4 aspects of sexuality that I want to go through. And then we will merge and combine, and I'll show you what gets you to supercharge your sacral chakra, in a sense. In the sacral chakra, the Devi is split into 4 parts, and these are the 4 parts that I really want to discuss. Sex happens in the brain as much as it does in our emotions or in our physicality. I want you to think of it almost like, I know we're not playing with these hierarchical terms, but again, nature is a hierarchy too, so, the woke mafia can say whatever it wants about it, but this is what it is. So Divya, the divine, Vira, the valiant or the warrior, Pashu, the animal, and Manushya Bhava, which is the human sentiment. So the layers would be, first it goes animal, human, warrior, divine. These are the levels of it. The one who is chained to any habit, thought, or desire is called the animal or the Pashu. This is information that I'm also getting from Om Swami, okay? A man in his Pashu Bhava will be very rough and violent and aggressive with his lovemaking. It's basically because to this man, it becomes more so a basal carnal need rather than an emotional one. So this is kind of the libidinal urges, like how an animal or a dog just, steals a piece of bread without thinking twice. They're just responding to their nature. They're an animal. They're just satiating their lust. So the sexual animal is just looking for a piece of flesh. So the ego death they get could be easily from, their partner or a brothel in that sense. They can drink from any pond in a sense. And it's not so much about, hurting the person physically or emotionally. It's more about, getting the job done, just getting to the climax. So that's kind of how I want you to understand the animal form. The human way, or Manushya, is the one who takes refuge, or Ashya, in their manas, their mind, heart. And of course, you could argue and say that, yeah, some animals do show emotion. However, we are way more complex and involved from animals, my friends. Of course, we are mammals. But in the human way, we need to kind of feel something for another person. And the other person has got to feel something for us in order for the sexual communion to even take place. Now, it could be that these 2 aspects of you, the animal and the human side, are battling it out. But this is also why we have other dimensions. So I'm going to get to that, okay? Somewhere in our humanness, Our emotional and spiritual thirst far outweighs our sexual appetite. But when we rise above our animalistic tendencies, we look from this human perspective. So sentimental companionship, wholeness, it fulfills our need for intimacy, deep companionship, compassion with another person, right? Now we go to the warrior way. In the warrior way, one of the partners is usually the more dominant one, usually the male, but it is what it is in this culture. One that can subdue his enemy is a vira, a warrior. And above all, a vira is also one that harnesses their creative fluids. Creative fluid is the reproductive fluid in both males and females. This is the fluid that makes men virile or more manly, or makes women fertile or more, feminine. So for the dominant partner, it feels like a victory, not like a conquering type of victory, like the animalistic, it's not the same thing, right? You gotta differentiate between these two styles. Because they're demonstrating strength, endurance through their lovemaking, but they're not rough with it, okay? They have a greater sense of detachment. For the warrior, sex is just like their meditation. It's just a regular part of their life. They're not, shaming it as this lowly act or praising it as this highly act. It's just a part of their nature. The warrior also has a sense of protection. This is a very important keynote, so listen here, okay? This is a very important point. The warrior feels a sense of protection, okay? Now, this should not be confused with possessiveness. We create, we do not possess, L. Ron Hubbard, okay? We've got to understand that a warrior protects out of duty. They're not protecting out of their attachment to the thing. Just like a warrior feels protective about his king, they also feel a connection to their partner. So the animal just kind of wants to get it done, okay? The human wants to possess. Is still in the world of attachment, right? The human. It's the 3D world, okay? The warrior wants to protect. What about the divine? What is the divine way? The divine lover sets everything free. Hurt people, then free people, free people. The beautiful sounds of Krishna's flute, where all the gopis of like 16,100 or whatever, how many gopis that he had, wives or gopis or consorts he had. Just by playing his flute in such a mellifluous way, he lost himself in the flow state. You see? They'd leave their homes, their husbands, their cattle, their belongings, everything behind. Why? Because his music would set them free. You see, the flute does not cling. It is just a musical instrument. Krishna's flute could speak. And if it would speak, it would say, I simply allow myself to be played whenever he wishes. I never speak, he only speaks through me. So really, it's Krishna speaking, right? As the flute is speaking. See, these gopis were there to serve Krishna. They weren't there to own him. They were giving him offerings and betel leaves and, rubbing sandalwood paste on him and things like this. When you channel your sexual energy, you become a giver. You have no demands and your joy just comes from giving your love. So the divine way is to unite in love in all levels. So at Primal Sutra, we're not just looking for structure. We're looking for that organic chi, prana, life force energy to come through. This is why having practices like ecstatic dancing or freestyle rapping or improv comedy, these things will make you a fantastic lover because you will be able to respond organically in the moment. Oh, what do I do now? How do I adapt myself? How do I weave? How do I become this shapeshifter through this art form, and I become a mirror for this other person, and then we go through this entire journey through such depth and richness. And not this meaninglessness hookup culture or whatever, where it's just like, oh yeah, oh okay, yeah, she's kind of cute, bro. Let me smash, okay? First of all, you squash a bug, okay? You smash a bug. You don't smash a person. It's order and chaos, okay? The feminine is unpredictable. It can't be forced to make a decision. It's just free. It's freedom. It's expansion. And the male, is the structure, the container of space of protectiveness. For the divine, you've got to be selfless. You've got to be a container. Pure love. Pure love. This surrender or bhakti, this devotion. The yogi or the tantric adept wants to fill his consort with divine energy. So much so that she gets kind of a spiritual hangover, and it lasts not just a day, but, years from now. This is really what is called Shiva Shakti union, if you're really thinking about it. That sexual union or sacred energy exchange. This is why when we have just, I would actually recommend you guys listen to this thing called Quantum K every time that you have a sexual experience with someone, because you don't know what really this other person is carrying, or, they might have their own traumas or, storylines and different emotions and different things. So when I listen to Quantum K, man, it really helps. So you can just type in Quantum K into YouTube and just listen to the whole thing. There's an audio version and there's a one where you have to look at the screen. Just go through it, okay? It's just going to be a clear energetically and emotionally and a lot of, it's just a basically great energy clearing system, okay? So just wanted to share that with you. By the way, we're just scratching the surface with these videos, guys, okay? Like, in our Bali retreat, we're going to go much more in depth, and you start to really understand how to optimize this and how to make your character still unique and true to you, but how do you administer it into that frequency of the priest, beast, and the savage shaman, so you can become like the spiritual alpha male in a sense. It's that big Vajra energy with that big Shakti essence. Together, they create something very potent and powerful, and that's what we will share with you, okay, in this Primal Sutra protocol. The Primal Sutra protocol is a program, okay? It's a comprehensive program where you'll be going through a lot of emotional clearing. You'll clear up a lot of emotional gunk that's stuck and stored in the body, mind, spirit, okay? And as we go through the 3 days, you'll start to notice a difference. In the divine form, the edges of the male and female, they dissolve completely. It's a merging of worlds, a blurring of boundaries. You almost feel like your mirror self through the act. You see, creativity is gaining oneness with logic. Creativity is mind looking at itself. So it's funny we use the word come, right, for ejaculation. Now, it's also interesting how the phrase kam, like K-A-M, not K-C-U-M or whatever, also the seed or the bij mantra of the Devi called Kakini, who's associated with the sacral chakra. So it's also kam. People also train with Mula Bandha and, pulling through the root lock, right? Clenching the intrinsic muscles and bringing them up. I do that sometimes, but I feel like it's like training wheels. You honestly need to have a pure meditation practice too, if you're going to be on this, process. So how exactly is this priest beast the multidimensional lover? And how do you go between animal to human to warrior to divine? You got to understand that you can hop these levels as a man. Okay, you can understand when you're in the divine. You gain awareness every time that you feel that protectedness in the warrior energy. When you feel that sense of, oh, I want to completely ravish this person through the animal energy, or you feel a sentimental energy coming through, which is the more human aspect. You feel this attachment towards this other person. Then you feel this complete detachment. So it's going slowly from attachment to the physical experience up to the crown, you see? So if you actually awaken your Kundalini through this process, it'll be so much easier to experience that divine union that you're actually looking for, okay? That's also related to the Vajrayana and the Tantric traditions, right? Of how you have a consort and you merge Shiva and Shakti together to form that union and to create that magic. So it's really important for you to understand that you're going from the root to the crown through lovemaking, and you can actually sit in the sacral, and this is what I would recommend, is you sit in that sacralness and allow the four aspects or the fragmentations to start to loop, and you will find your rhythm through doing this. You can strengthen each part. Let's say you're weak on the warrior frame, or you're weak in the animal frame, or you're weak in the divine, or you haven't really strengthened these aspects of yourself. You need a wholeness, you need a complete understanding of who you are. Because who you are as a person comes through in whatever you do. Not just making love, but just you doing stuff in life. In the boardroom, in the bedroom, in your lifestyle, how you show up, what you say, your communication. It all comes across, okay? This is the golden shadow time, my friends. Okay? Don't take masculinity advice from guys who can't show their face online. Okay? You can't have this fear of being seen all the time, bro. You're like, yeah, I would start a YouTube channel, but I just, what will people think? And I don't know, I tried making a video once, I kind of looked dorky, and just go. Just move. Just decide and commit and move. Okay? There's not been a day that I haven't posted a YouTube video. That's my bhakti. Right? That's my bhakti to this container. So it's important to understand that. Are you seeing anybody posting daily like this? Consistently, day after day after day. Now, I know I described these aspects of, kind of the male archetype of, having sex. Now, for women, I would say there's different ways to go through all of these as well, right? Because Kakani Devi is a Devi. You got to understand that too, okay? It's a feminine form. It's the wisdom of that. So as you understand that, as a woman, you could even allow yourself to get to that divine state and that animal state. You know it, okay? Now, society likes to suppress the sexuality, right? Shame it. Oh, the snake is Eve. It's feminine. It's dark. It's Lilith. It's whatever. Let's push it away. Sexuality is bad. Let's push it away. Culture just shaming sexuality, but everybody's secretly wanting to do it, wanting that sexual union, wanting oneness and connection. Really, that's what it is divine connection, right? So we got to understand how to change our paradigm around about sexuality. Because right now it's repressed and it's fucked up, dude. Okay? You guys know what's happening with sexuality around the world with these celebrities and weird people. I don't even have to mention that, right, on this channel. I probably will be blocked if I say something about that. But in any case, okay? The world is completely distorted in terms of their intimacy. And we've got to be the change makers. We've got to be the trailblazers of this thing to bring through a different kind of vibe, a potency, a spiritual and emotional and energetic potency. So you can show up and feel happy and be your best and fuck the rest. Let's go. Upward Spiral gang. May we never be the same again. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. I would really, really appreciate that. Let's go today.